Hi, welcome to the Glow Interviews. My name is Katie Oman. I am an author, psychic, motivational speaker and coach. The Glow Interviews is a place where we can meet some really amazing and inspiring people who are a light in the darkness. I know that by talking with them, we'll all be left feeling empowered, inspired and hopeful for a brighter tomorrow. All of the contact details for both myself and my guests are in the description box below. So if you'd like to reach out to either of us, please feel free to do so. Today's guest is Claire Broad. She's known as the Honest Medium. Claire is a spiritual practitioner, teacher, and best-selling author. She co-authored Answers from Heaven with Teresa Chung, and she's also written What the Dead Are Dying to Teach Us, which was listed as Amazon bestseller on day of publication, by the way. Claire has over 24 years of hands-on experience with spirit communication, and she is just amazing at what she does. She really, really is. And I'm so honoured, really, to have this chance to talk with her today. So, hi Claire, thank you for being here.
Hi, what a lovely introduction. Thanks, Katie.
You're very welcome. It's all true. I didn't have to make anything up. It's all true. Bless you. So, 2020, let's just kick things off. How's it been for you? How have you been coping? Have you managed to stay sane in all of this chaos?
Well, I suppose it's questionable whether I'm sane in the first place, really, isn't it? I don't know if any of us are, to be honest. Well, I've had my ups and downs, and you know, I've been quite honest about it with my own readers and clients and followers, because I actually think sometimes people that are spiritual teachers, the general public can have an idea that they've got it all down, they never have a bad day, you know, they don't get knocked off their perch. I mean, I have actually found, especially the beginning half of lockdown, I found that incredibly difficult. Because you know, I'm a public speaker, teacher, I'm used to being out one-to-one with my clients, in contact with people. I'm a people person.
Yeah.
So suddenly my life shrunk, and I hadn't realised, because I always thought I was somebody that really liked my solitude and could be a bit of a hermit, you know. But I realise now it's because I had the balance of always being in front of people and meeting people and hugging people.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
So I found it a challenge. It's been a challenge, and also I think because I'm, you know, I'm a family person. I've got children. I mean, you know, I had them at home 24/7. I don't think any parent really thought they were signing up for that.
No, definitely not.
But, you know, it's lovely. You know, I was glad they went back to school. And, you know, it's just so, I suppose what I'm trying to say is life has been completely on its head this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you managed to find anything positive out of that time, though?
Yes, I mean, I've actually, what I've done is reconnecting with myself, which I hadn't been doing because I'd been so fortunate to be so busy. You know, the last 4 years particularly have been books, book tours, demonstrations, you know, I just haven't stopped. So in a sense that was divine, because I literally got in touch with nature, went out, spent time on my own, just walking and reconnecting and connecting with spirit. And the beauty of it was that even though I'm a practitioner and working with spirit all the time, it gave me time to connect into spirit for myself, for other people. So absolutely. And I found I've been getting so much information, so much knowledge, so much teaching. I've still been teaching through the time. I've done lots of videos and things. So so in that respect, spiritually speaking, it's been fantastic. So it's duality, isn't it? You know, we lost something physically, but spiritually, I think we all gained. We've been driven within ourselves, and sometimes it's like dealing with the shadow self, isn't it? Is actually in the long term very positive. That's where you find your happiness, because you realise I'm unhappy, or this isn't working, or don't like this, so I'm going to make changes. And I think loads of us went through a reflective period. So, you know, all in all, 2020 has been difficult, but also I think long term it's going to have been very positive.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny what you say, because just thinking there that a lot of spiritual people do what's known as light washing or spiritual bypassing. So it's all like love and light and rainbows and positivity. And it's actually to deny the shadow side of your aspect is to deny what makes us human. And to have this time where I think a lot of people have dealt with anxiety and, you know, mental health issues. And I think it's because we have had to stop. And when you stop, then you face what's really going on, right? You can't hide from that. But it's good because then you can process it and try and deal with it in some regard, you know?
Well, that's it. I don't believe, you know, I just said it a minute ago, but we do live in a world of duality. You can't have the up with the down. You can't be happy, I don't believe, truly happy and content within yourself without acknowledging the times when you're fearful, anxious, angry, triggered, whatever, and then you work through those and you just learn to, okay, today it's like this, it's going to pass, that'll be fine, I'll be back into my normal self again. But I just think we do a disservice to everybody when we, like you say, whitewash, you know, because that's not the joy of life. And if that was what this earthly world was all about, we wouldn't have the ability to experience a whole gamut of emotions, would we? And also in the spirit world, we don't just suddenly become all, you know, and I'm so happy and skipping around. You know, that's not reality either. So,
no, it's really not. To anybody watching it, we don't do that, believe you me.
It's a journey. We're on a journey together. And, you know, that is the joy. The joy is all of it.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I know some people are going through very difficult times. And like you say, it's really pushed us on our own mental health front. But actually, I believe, ultimately, that's a good thing. Because that is the spiritual journey.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You find that, I don't know, for you, I'll talk about that in a minute. But for me, it was like the catalyst of dealing with something traumatic was actually the catalyst that brought me home to myself. It was kind of the beginning of that journey. So yeah, absolutely, it can be really actually a positive thing in the long run, you know, although it's not positive at the time, it can lead you to a better place overall.
It's what you do with it, isn't it? You have a choice. You either sink or swim. And you know, it's true, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And so many times we are challenged and we can't understand what this is all about. But I suppose it's learning I believe spiritual techniques, like going into the stillness, connecting within yourself and realizing that you are an eternal being, that the conscious aspect of yourself can't be annihilated. And so no matter whatever happens, it will pass at some point. It, you know, no matter how bad it gets, it will pass. And
one of my sayings, I say, this too shall pass. It may pass like a kidney stone, but it will pass.
Exactly. And we can choose to make it hard on ourselves as well. You know, some things in life are really painful. I don't, you know, make light of the fact that, you know, I'm dealing with people all the time that have had terrible tragedies in their lives. But even then, you know, I'm always in awe of the strength of the mother that's lost a child, or you know, the husband who's found himself on his own living without his soulmate. You know, so many people, I find my clients are very uplifting in the main. The strength of the human spirit and the amount of suffering someone can tolerate never ceases to amaze me, actually.
Absolutely. The human spirit is incredible. Absolutely.
And you can have somebody else who really, on the face of it, I suppose, hasn't got a lot going on in comparison to those people, and yet they're not able to cope. So suffering is a very personal thing, and it's all very relative, isn't it? You know.
Absolutely. And then, and thank you for that, because I think people don't talk about that sort of stuff. I think people feel bad or feel guilty or feel ashamed if they don't feel like they're coping, or even if they're coping better than they should be. You know what I mean? It's kind of like we have all these expectations around it, you know, and it's, you should be feeling this now and you should be doing this now. And it's like, it's an individual journey, isn't it? So
absolutely. And who said you should be doing anything? You know,
exactly.
And I think half of my work is trying to break down all those constructs of society. It's like step outside of them and free yourself, you know.
Absolutely.
Put ourselves in our own shackles and chains And half of that is even believing that this is all there is, that there's nothing more, or that there's no purpose in life, which is absolute rubbish. You know, one of the loveliest things about understanding there's an afterlife and that being in touch with the spirit dimensions shows you is that, you know, we don't understand the half of it. So life is, I find, even in the darker times, still really inspiring, because there's still much more to know and see and do, and you know, you don't know what's around the corner.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So obviously I mentioned, everybody will realise that you are a medium. So for those of you that don't know, or, you know, wondered how in the hell did you get started on that, what's been your journey? What led you to do the work that you do now?
Yeah, so I don't believe that I chose it.
Of course.
Well, I know I didn't. I was doing everything I could to not choose it, to be honest. At the age of 4, I gave a message from my granddad, who was deceased, to my nan. I was standing in a cemetery. My mum and my nan had been to tidy up my granddad's plot, and I felt him come around me. But obviously, at the age of 4, I had no idea about death, dying, had no emotional intelligence, didn't really care. Terrible to say, but I didn't even really care. My granddad had died. You know, I just didn't have that depth of ability to
No,
be.
you don't at 4. You don't even fully, like, you weren't even aware of him probably when he was alive. You didn't have that relationship with him. So
no, because he was unwell for a portion of it. So that kind of was my, if you like, first introduction, although I had experiences before that. But it wasn't until I was a teenager that things started to really get active around me, as happens with lots of teenagers. And I began to see who I now know is my spirit guide, my main teacher, standing at the end of my bed, which led me on a journey to find a medium to understand what was going on. And then from there, she took me under her wing, and I trained for 10 years, just really trying to understand, what is the spirit world? Is it real? How do I interact with it? What is this that's going on with me? How am I able to do this? I've always been very too analytical, to be honest, Katie. I've questioned and dismissed so many times. But so I led a very conventional life up until that point, working at huge blue chip organisations, working for Disney, in advertising. And it wasn't until I had my children that people started to say, can you do a reading for me while you're at home? And it just started to, it happened to me. I didn't look for it. It happened to me.
Which is just kind of the case, isn't it? Because it's like you say, it's almost like you've chosen this path before we've even got here. So it was kind of the thing about destiny and fate. It's kind of very inevitable that it was going to happen at some point, right?
Well, I did question if I even had free will in any of this, because for 20 years I was being told that I'd come to write for the spirit world, that there would be books. I was even told by the mediums what the books would look like, the covers of the books. And I was just like, no, I failed English GCSE. I'm no writer. You know, I don't want to put myself out there with such personal views. I don't want to put myself out there to be, you know, a sitting duck for skeptics or cynics. But it all came about. And as I was sitting there writing my first book with Teresa Chung, I remember looking at the pen on the table, saying, have I even got any free will in this life? Because everything that you've said has come true. And then I'm literally looking at the pen going, make me pick it up. Go on. And that's when I realised that I do have free will. Like you say, probably chose this before I came. And something in me, in my soul, realised, no, this is why I'm here. So, you know, that's, I do understand I'm fulfilling my purpose, if you like. It is a calling. Sounds trite, but I feel called to it.
Absolutely. And it's not, you know, obviously I don't work as a medium, but I work as a psychic, so I know that it's not always, again, the easiest job in the world. People have a very preconceived idea, I think, of what we do, but it brings its challenges, of course. But at the same time, I can't imagine now doing anything else. I can't imagine. It's really strange. Like, I couldn't go and work in a proper job now.
No, and actually, to be quite honest, that would be the easier route, because I actually earn good money. You know, this is not the get rich path.
No, it's really not. You do get, of course, there are the occasional ones who do kind of hit big time and get all like the
Yeah.
global stuff, but they are rare. There aren't many of us out there who are earning big bucks.
No, that you could probably list them on one or two hands in the whole world, really, couldn't you? So,
yeah.
you know, and yeah, I mean, I suppose you just, that's what they're supposed to be doing, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I have it, you know, I've had my fair amount of media exposure, and it isn't all what it seems, and you you know, for me, I want to try and stay true to the spiritual path, like I was saying. Yeah. It gave me a chance this year to reconnect in with that, because that's where my joy is. And I'm trying to, one thing I'm really keen to get across is that in my work, I may be doing readings for people. My readings are very therapeutic in the hope that they give peace of mind or evidence of survival, at least. But ultimately, what I'm trying to achieve is that people understand that I'm not special. They have that link, and that they can learn this for themselves. Okay, they might not be doing it professionally, but we can all learn how to have that interaction with the spirit dimensions and empower ourselves to live our best lives. And that's what it's about.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. I feel exactly the same way. I say that to everybody. I am special, but I'm also not special. Everybody has this ability. It's just a case of tapping into it and developing it. So I totally agree with that. I totally. And of course, on that vein, so many people obviously have lost loved ones this year, very sadly, very tragically. And so how do people in spirit reach out to us, and how can we kind of help to develop that connection ourselves?
Well, they do actually reach out to us a lot. The trouble is that we often are conditioned in our culture, particularly here over in the Western world, to dismiss the contact, the signs, the inner knowings, the intuitive feelings that we have. We dismiss them because we are taught that it's wishful thinking, or that we're grieving and that we must be just making it up in our mind because we need it, or that, you know, our brain's processing dreams to help us cope with grief, you know. And actually, by what happens is we actually miss the actual signs. And there's been a lot of scientific research done in this field now, and they have found that actually in the first 1 to 3 months roughly, people will have direct after death communication themselves, probably more so than even if you see a medium. Your loved ones are trying to get in contact with you. So it could be through signs. You could see calling cards. You could see, you know, the same symbol showing up over and over that had significance to that loved one. Lots of people get clairscent, so they smell maybe the aftershave or the perfume or flowers or something significant to that loved one. Dreams are hugely important, and they have they have a lucid quality where people actually see their loved ones. They're appearing very well. They're telling them that they're well, they're okay, and trying to put the, you know, their loved ones here at ease. Don't just dismiss those dreams because they have such a healing quality and they're so strong. They're not like a usual dream. But I mean, there's so many ways that spirit can get in touch with you. So look for the signs, but also yourself, learn to sit in the stillness, be quiet, meditate. Meditation is the key that opens the door to the spiritual dimensions. There's nothing new here. It's been taught for all over the ages. So, you know, we just don't stop. We don't turn the phone off. We don't make time to just be in the peace, the stillness, and just learn to do that ourselves. And actually, again, I keep talking about the science, but if we move into the realms of understanding the brain a little bit, when you meditate, you move your brain patterns into a state where they're actually receptive to receiving more from imagination or in the dream state. And that's how the spirit dimensions communicate, is through our consciousness. So when we move our minds into alpha brainwaves and theta brainwaves, then we start to receive more insight, more creativity. You know, it's just really good for your health. You should do it.
It is. Absolutely, absolutely. The one thing I always teach is that, so you know that thing where you see something out the corner of your eye, you might see a shadow or a light, and so you naturally turn your head to look at it, and your brain convinces you that it's gone. But actually, it hasn't gone. The thing is that your peripheral vision is where your subconscious works, which picks things up, but your direct vision is where your conscious mind works. So it can't see it. But that doesn't mean it's not there. And when I heard that, I was like, that's amazing, because I see things all the time in the peripheral. It opens you up, like you said, to just be aware of what's around you, you know?
And actually, I mean, on that point, you know, the human eye only sees up to about 0.5% of the electromagnetic spectrum anyway. It can't see most of what's in the universe and around us. So seeing isn't believing, you know. So it is a case of, if you see something, you're very lucky. And I have seen a lot over the 24 years that I have been doing mediumship. To the point where now I don't doubt. I know there's something more. I don't understand how the afterlife works, and you know, but I definitely know that life goes on, or consciousness can exist beyond the human body for sure.
Absolutely.
You know, but you also, I think a mistake people make is trying to see. Even when I'm teaching students, often I see them going like screwing their eyes up and really trying to see in their minds. You know, we try to see, but most of spirit contact is soul to soul, heart to heart. It's what you feel, and that's really important. The way I describe it is a bit like two people have had an argument. You walk into the room, you feel the atmosphere. The atmosphere can't say to you, Tony just said to Jill. You walk into the atmosphere and you're like, oh, hang on a minute, this is uncomfortable. I'm feeling this. What's going on here? You're being informed. We have that intelligence in our environment all the time. You know, dogs, cats, animals, they communicate that way solely, really. And we have to get back to that. Then you'll feel your loved ones. Then you'll sense them. Then you'll know they're there.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with that totally, totally. So what do you wish that you had known when you started this journey that you know now, in terms of the work that you do?
Oh, that's a good question.
Thank you.
There's just so much, really, isn't there, when I think about it? I think if I do, I believe that patience is key. Okay, so I'm thinking about the long term. I was very frustrated when I first started out, and lots of people are, because they, you know, 6 months in, they're thinking still nothing's coming, still can't see anything, not receiving anything. If they could only see that over the time, if you just stay committed and dedicated, they'll be able to look back in time and see how enriched their life becomes as this skill unfolds.
Yes, absolutely.
Begins to unfold. Then I think people would stick with it more. So I think if somebody had told me, look, you're going to be able to get all these details, but it's going to take you a while, just stick with it and enjoy the journey, because you're going to have amazing experiences along the way. You know, I would like to have known that. The other side of it, I mean, I was 21 when I started developing. There wasn't the science. There wasn't. So we didn't know about the brain. We didn't know how the brain worked. We didn't know. So it was very much on taking your teacher's word for it, that if you sat every single week, hour after hour, seeing not much gains, at some point you'd see the payoff. Whereas now I can teach people, this is why it takes this long to develop. This is what's going on with your brain. This is how your body works. This is how the heart works. Once you understand your human body, then I think you can trust more. And it's that word trust, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's a trust and faith are two sides of the same coin, aren't they? But trust is more about, I think, like you say, some kind of proof, whereas faith is like, you don't really need the proof. You just go with it, don't you? So to work with those two things together really helps to, like you say, have some patience and keep going, and have faith that at some point it will happen.
At some point you will see results, and too many people I see walk away before that.
Yeah, that's because we live in an instant gratification society. We want, you know, you can promise like lose a stone in a month and all those kind of things. So to play the long game, to have patience, to know you have that faith, is something that most of us have not been taught. So it does, but if that in itself, learning patience, learning to keep going in that journey, is also a really important skill, I think, to learn overall. So
it is a way of life.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And I think this is where I'm a bit geeky, Katie, you know, because at the end of the day, I was willing to sit week after week after week after week. I sat for 10 years every week under my teacher's wing, just loving sitting there in meditation and doing what looked like nothing, you know. But in time, it really starts to unfold. A new reality opens up and you realise, wow, I was asleep. And you can see why it's called an awakening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Around asleep.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, if you could get into a DeLorean and travel back to your childhood, any age, what would you say to your younger self?
I would say, don't be so serious and intense. You're taking life too seriously. Enjoy. I mean, I had a beautiful childhood. I had a very happy life right up until kind of the age of 12, when it all went very pear-shaped. Parents got divorced, all sorts, bullying, you know, I suddenly woke up to the real world around that age. But my younger childhood was very carefree, but I always just had a very deep nature. I questioned everything. I was, on one hand, quite a show-off, you know, bubbly personality, but mostly quite introverted as well, you know, as in not shy, but wanting solitude. And so I could be a deep thinker and an analytical thinker. And so I've often been too serious, especially through my 20s, you know. Now, if I look back, I'd be like, just go and have fun. just trying to achieve, you know. Don't sweat the small stuff.
No, I know, but obviously you're just an old soul. You're obviously a wise one, elementally, and it's like you've been here before. So I think with those kind of people, you've had these abilities in the past life, and you have it all. So you want to get back to where you were before, and that's the frustration. It's like, come on, let's get to where we were, so we can carry on that journey. You know.
That is so true. And in Spirit have actually told me, they've shown me past lives, and the reason why they're showing them to me now, so that I understand what it was I came here to do. So you're right, I'm totally on board with what you're saying. And it is that kind of, oh, have I got to go through the whole remembering process, you know? Can I not just remember straight away and just get down to it?
We all get spiritual amnesia when we come here. So I always say it's not learning, it's remembering. That's a different way of looking at it. Yeah, you already know the stuff, just remember it, that's all.
Yeah, and I love it when you're talking to members of the public and you say something that can be quite, if you like, spiritually deep, but they're like, yeah, I understand that. That makes sense. I know that already. You know, I love that soul recognition.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you have 2 amazing books so far, and if you haven't checked them out, I urge you to do so. They're both incredible reads. So do you have any more plans to do more writing?
Well, I've got another book idea in my mind. You know, writing this year, everything's shrunk down a bit because there was children at home 24/7. It wasn't really conducive to sitting there writing all day. But I'm working on a book idea now, so I hope there's going to be a new book at some point.
Awesome.
But I mean, it'll take as long as it takes, and I just know the spirit world will get that out when it's ready. But in the meantime, I mean, my private practice is often booked up a couple of years in advance, and I need to be I want to get out again teaching. I've been doing a lot of online stuff, which is great. But I can't wait to get out and do the workshops, the demonstrations, and
I know, it's hard, isn't it? I miss that one-to-one as well, because there's nothing quite like it. We're very fortunate to have Wi-Fi and to have computers and phones and stuff, but you can't beat in person. It's just something very special about it, isn't there?
I think it's the energy, because we're sensitive, we're empathic. When you're in someone's energy, yes, you can feel it across the screen to some degree, but when you're in someone's power, there's nothing nicer than your energies blending and connecting. And this is why all of us have been missing loved ones and hugs, and you know.
Absolutely.
I think the exciting thing though, Katie, is we'll use this now. So we're all online now, so we'll be able to do both, and that's good.
Exactly. You know, some of us have been quite au fait with tech already, but for those that haven't, it has been like a baptism of fire. But like you say, they'll be able to use that moving forward. So it's been a good thing in that sense as well.
It has.
Bless you. So Who or what inspires you to be your best self?
Ooh. Well, it's so multifaceted, isn't it? I love watching inspirational speakers. I had a client come to me once who said to me, surround yourself with people that lift you,
yes,
that see your best qualities and want to see you get on.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
when she said that to me, it was like, bing, I haven't been doing that necessarily. When you're younger, you tend to think you've got to be dutiful to everybody that's come into your life. And actually what I found is those who lift me and inspire me and who are, you know, challenging me to be a better me, I want to bring more of them into my life. So I've kind of got rid of, it sounds terrible, but I've shed a lot of people that I didn't need to have around me, but really valuing those who I do have around me. So those that are in my life are there because I want to give to them and they're giving something to me.
Absolutely. So, I did that on social media as well. I had a massive clear out a couple of years ago because I was used to be one of those people, like you say, dutiful, that if somebody followed me, I would automatically follow them back. But what happened is my newsfeed got filled with all these people and not all of it was positive. And so I needed to keep my vibration high. So I just had a massive, and anybody who was lower energy, I just unfollowed or unfriended or whatever, because your energy is everything, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I'm giving all the time. So I had to learn to surround myself with people that lift me. So, you know, so I am inspired by family. I've got a few very good friends, you know, and actually I heard something really important, which was you should be able to count your best or better friends on one hand. Because I think what's happened with social media and everything is we've all said everyone's a friend, you know, but actually a true friend, the real friend who's there through thick and thin is going to, you know, be there no matter what. They're few and far between. So that's really important to me. And like I said, just listening to inspiring people that have had, I love everyday stories, like I was saying earlier about people rising above adversity. You know, that's where I focus. I'm not looking at the news so much anymore. I'm looking to people that are inspiring, and that's really it. That's what leads me on, and the spirit world.
Of course,
my spirit guys.
Yes, you never mentioned. We'll get crossed if we don't.
Well, I've never, you know, I'm in awe of what they've been able to achieve this year to get through to me. So, you know, again, high frequency, high vibration, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So last question, my darling. These interviews, I call them the glow interviews because I wanted to bring some light to these trying, dark times. So in that sense, what lights you up and what brings you joy?
Ooh, well, my children. And it sounds really trite, but it's love. So I go into my heart center as much as possible. And I think about all the things that I love. So music, food, my spiritual pathway, those people I love, my closest friends, and you know, it's the simple things. It's seeing the sunshine, feeling the breeze, remembering that this is a drop in the ocean of time, and to look up at the stars and just see how amazing everything is, and to hold that. And the other thing for me is to keep thinking forward. I don't think in age terms. So I'm an eternal being. That means that my life here, every moment is precious. So let's keep thinking, what do I want to do now? What's my passion? What makes me happy? Do more of that. Find ways to bring the people I love into my life and do more of what makes me happy. And there's no secret to it, is it? I think that helps you to stay healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. You know?
And if you've got your health, you've got everything, haven't you?
Health is wealth at the end of the day, absolutely. And of course, having written a book about happiness, I know that gratitude and kindness, you know, and mindfulness, all these things that, you know, people think are just hashtags, but actually they're the core root of everything. They're your foundation, aren't they? To actually be thankful for what you have and to be present with the people you love and, you know, to try and be kind and to do more of what makes you happy. These are the things that it's not complicated.
No, we make it complicated, really.
We do. That's what human beings like to do.
Yeah, and that, you know, when you were asking me earlier about my younger self, that was very typically me, focused on the 20% in progress and not the 80% that was going well, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, Claire, this has been such a wonderful conversation, and I really honestly thank you for being here. Guys, you've got to go and check this woman out. She is amazing at what she does, and I hope this video has given you some comfort, some guidance, some inspiration, you know, maybe for your own spiritual journey. So just a thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here, Claire, and go and check her out. All her links down here. Go and have a look right now. But I will see you guys on the next one. Lots of love. Take care of yourself, and